I want to take a quick look at the PHP Code Sniffer with you guys. So quickly I'm just going to open up my editor in Vim and show that when I save the file, nothing pops up to give me linting hints. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Composer to install PHP Code Sniffer. This will allow me to do linting right out of my text editor and tell me if I'm conforming to code standards for Drupal. The next thing I'm going to do is just run a quick test here and run the PHP Code Sniffer command and set a standard of Drupal. And then I'm going to pick an arbitrary module file here. So let's look into core and let's grab our modules and then let's say look at the user module and then just use user.module file. And if I try to run this, it's going to tell me that the Drupal coding standard is actually not installed. So we have to actually go and install that coding standard. And the way we do that, let's hop over to Drupal.org and take a look at the documentation, is we're going to install the coder module. So if you come down here, you can see that we can install it with Composer, just like we did with PHP Code Sniffer. So we'll grab that command there. And then just, if you look up at the documentation, it says this contains some sniffs for the Drupal coding standards, and then it has some Drupal practice sniffing as well. So let's go back over to our editor and let's paste that Composer command in there. That adds Drupal Coder to our project. And now, once that's downloaded, we actually have to come through here, and if you look at the documentation, it'll tell you that you have to register the coding standards. So there's some instructions about doing that manually, but since we're already using Composer for everything else, let's just grab the Composer commands. So the first one's actually going to require a specific version of Coder. So we'll do that. We'll update our Coder real quick. And we'll do that globally. And then we'll flip back here, and then we'll just run this other command. And that should install everything for us so we can actually use the Drupal coding standards. And if we run a PHPCS with an I flag, it will tell us what coding standards are installed. And you can see that now Drupal and Drupal practice is installed. So let's go back and try to run that initial PHP Code Sniffer command that we tried to run in the beginning, setting the standard to Drupal and then running on the user module. Okay, so it flags a bunch of things that are not conforming to Drupal coding standards, you'll see here. Which is kind of interesting since this is a core module, but not everything in core actually conforms to the standards, so it's not too surprising. And if you come look over here, you can see that it will flag things at certain lines. So on line 60, there's a doc comment with short description that must be on a single line. So let's take a look here. Let's hop over to line 60 in Vim. And if we save the file now, a little hint pops up on the left-hand side that says there's an error, and then at the bottom it tells you what's going on. And that comment mirrors exactly what we saw on the front page. And so now if we come down here, we can actually look through all the different things that are flagged to us. So there was a few that were flagged in our terminal, and we can just kind of go step by step and see all of those in our editor on a line-by-line basis. And you can just go down to the line and then look at the bottom, and it'll tell you exactly what the issue is there. Sometimes the descriptions are a little bit vague, so you might have to just copy and paste those into your browser and do a little Googling, but for the most part, this will help you conform all your code to the standards that Drupal has set. So the last thing I want to show is, in order to have this pop up in Vim, if you check out your vimrc, make sure that you have the Syntactic plugin installed. So you can just add that line if you're using Vundle and then do a plugin install. It'll run something like this. And then make sure that you're adding a couple of short lines at the bottom or anywhere in your vimrc file there that actually configures the code sniffer to pop up the way that I have it set up here. That's all there is to it. Good luck. Happy coding.